Our presentation is on exploring teachers' beliefs and practices with students who stutter. I'm Grace Kropenicki.
I'm Sarah Willett.
I'm Courtney Martin.
And I'm Allison Shattuck.
Teachers have the potential to greatly influence students' lives. Teachers and students spend roughly 1,200 hours together in a classroom per year. In that 1,200 hours, what does that relationship look like between teachers and students? What does it look like between teachers and students who stutter? In this case, is the teacher trained to help students who stutter? Does the teacher want to be there for the student? Can the teacher learn from the speech-language pathologist to best support the student? Is the teacher comfortable working with the parents of the student who stutters? These inquiries led us to attempt to identify teachers' beliefs and practices towards students who stutter to further pinpoint areas that are in need of more support and education for teachers. Gable and Irani published a study in 2008 that is similar to ours. They identified school teachers' attitudes towards people who stutter. What they found was teachers scored as having positive feelings and being comfortable with students who stutter. However, teachers also scored of having little experience working with students who stutter, and a majority had a lack of education during college on stuttering. Being that this present study is 12 years later, we wanted to see how things may have changed. Perhaps more teachers are educated on stuttering in their college classes and have more experience working with students who stutter today. We wanted to identify current teachers' comfortability levels with students who stutter. And overall, we were interested in the potential relationship between teachers' comfort levels and overall experience in education. To help us identify teachers' beliefs and practices with students who stutter, these were the questions we posed. How do teacher practices differ when working with students who stutter versus fluent peers? How comfortable do teachers feel addressing stuttering with their students? How much formal education on stuttering do teachers have? What are teachers' beliefs related to how well the speech-language pathologist includes them and supports them when working with students who stutter? We felt that these questions would give us insight on where teachers need that extra support and education to best assist their students who stutter.
An online survey was developed using Qualtrics software. Questions included respondents' demographics, including years of teaching, what setting they teach in, their experiences related to students who stutter, their views on the needs of students who stutter, and their overall education and knowledge on stuttering. This survey was sent to two superintendents at random in each of the 50 states in March of 2020. These superintendents were asked to send it to all the teachers in their district. The survey was also posted in various teaching Facebook groups. "26 teachers filled out the survey, with only 3 being male. The teachers ranged from only 1 year of teaching experience to 20 or more years. 54% of the respondents had a bachelor's degree, while 46% had a master's degree. Majority of the respondents taught in a public school, but there were 3 who taught in a private school and 3 who were either retired or worked in a different school setting. 1 respondent taught preschool, 13 taught elementary, 7 taught junior high, and 5 taught high school. 19 of the respondents, or 73%, said that they had a student who stutters in their class at some point, while 27% said that they had not or that it was hard to say. This is slightly higher than the 20% of teachers in Gable and Irani who reported not having a student who stutters.
This graph shows teachers' beliefs about different teaching practices for students who stutter. So on the x-axis, we have 4 different questions that teachers were asked about their beliefs. And on the y-axis, there's the number of teachers. So the dark blue corresponds with strongly agree, and the light blue corresponds with somewhat agree. The gray is neither agree or disagree. Light green corresponds with somewhat disagree, and dark green corresponds with strongly disagree. So for the first question on the graph, we see that most teachers said that kids who stutter are not more difficult to teach than their fluent peers. And the second question shows that most teachers somewhat agreed that kids who stutter need more emotional support than their fluent peers. And then For the last two questions, teachers mostly disagreed that kids who stutter should be called on less frequently than their fluent peers, and they also disagreed with the idea that it's better to wait to address a child's stuttering until the child or caregiver mention it. So this graph looks at beliefs that teachers have about working with speech language pathologists. So on the X and Y axis labels, the colors are the same as they were on the previous graph. And these results tell us that speech language pathologists usually include teachers in the treatment process, but teachers want to be included more, and they also want to be better educated on the results. And then teachers want to be taught strategies on how to support kids who stutter in the classroom. So this pie chart shows how much education and exposure teachers have on stuttering. So the specific question that teachers were asked was, did you receive education or exposure to stuttering through coursework during your academic program? And if so, how much? So in royal blue, we see that 77% of teachers said that they did not receive any education on stuttering through coursework. 4% received a full course, 8% received less than half of a course, 8% of teachers received more than a lecture, and 4% of teachers received less than a lecture on stuttering. This pie chart shows how comfortable teachers would be addressing stuttering with the child. So the colors are similar to the other graphs. So the dark blue corresponds with very comfortable. Light blue is somewhat comfortable. The gray corresponds with gray corresponds with neither comfortable or uncomfortable. Light green is somewhat uncomfortable, and dark green is very uncomfortable. So most teachers, which was 42%, said that they would be somewhat comfortable addressing stuttering with the child. 19% said they would be very comfortable. 23% said that they would be neither comfortable or uncomfortable. And 16% of teachers said that they would be uncomfortable addressing stuttering with the child.
Just to reiterate our findings, when surveying teachers, our study found that teachers believed that children who stutter needed more emotional support than their fluent peers. We also found that teachers reported that speech-language pathologists included them in the treatment process, but that they wanted to be included more. Teachers felt comfortable addressing stuttering with their students, but reported that they might not address the stuttering for some of the reasons identified in this presentation, but not previously reported, which include fear that the child would feel insecure and/or that the child would perceive their attitude towards stuttering as negative. Our study found that 77% of teachers reported having no formal education on stuttering. Considering Gable and Irani 2008 study found 75% of teachers reported having no formal education on stuttering. Our results indicate that there's not been a significant change in teacher education over the past 12 years. We would also like to address how COVID-19 likely impacted the recruitment process, since many school districts weren't participating in research due to the school shutdowns for COVID-19. Overall, though, our findings suggest that in-services on stuttering may help provide teachers with the needed education related to supporting children who stutter in the classroom, which is not often included in college programs. I would also like to show our reference list on the last page, and any questions that you may have can be emailed to Dr. Kara Singer, and we would like to thank you for listening and taking the time to listen to our presentation. Thank you.